Welcome to the next episode of the Adventures of Jack Hartland, and behind me you've got the beautiful Knysna estuary. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go out with Sanparks, who is helping to keep this whole area beautiful and safe. And they're going to show us around. They're going to show us the seahorses. We're going to look at the feeding grounds and everything. We're going to be out on the water. So I'm inviting you guys, come and join me as we go out on this beautiful, beautiful lake behind me. We're in Knysna at the Sanparks offices here for the garden route. And I asked them if there's a possibility that they can help me to go hunt for Knysna seahorses. And Sanparks, they're so awesome. They're actually helping me and finding them, feeding them. I have no idea what we're gonna do. So why am I still standing here talking to you guys while we can go and just do it? Now my guides for the day are Knysna and Pumi, and they are gonna tell me about this elusive Knysna seahorse, and they've got way more info than I do. Pumi will be our skipper, and Janae, well, she is kind of the mother of the Seahorse project. I'm going out with them on one of their daily food collection trips on the Knysna lakes. And here we go. Awesomeness. Looking for those horses. As you will hear, the lagoon is filled with all kinds of marine life as well as bird life, making this a very, very important wildlife sanctuary in South Africa. And that is why Sanparks plays such a vital role in this area. So we're actually going to a spot where we can find food for the seahorses. But in this area we'll also be able to find some wild seahorses.
The Knysna seahorse, unfortunately, is the world's first endangered seahorse on the UICN's Red Data list of endangered species. So that's why Sanparks is here as well. It's to protect the seahorse. However, also to protect the grass bed that the seahorse uses as a habitat. Because Knysna is such a strong tidal system, the seahorse needs to hold on to the grass, and if we can protect the grass, we can protect the Knysna seahorse.
So there's a spot here that's kind of shallow, and we're going to be stopping here and check out the water. To tell the truth, here we are. This is so cool. I don't know what it is about the water. I just love being on the water. It's amazing.
That Knysna seahorse is unfortunately endangered. However, with our conservation efforts, in order to create a balance between our conservation efforts and leisure that takes place on the water, we've set out some rules to accommodate the seahorse and its functionality in the estuary and the grass beds itself. Get a bucket of water to put the seahorse food into the bucket. Take the net over here to scoop up seahorse food through the grass. Perfect. There's a piece of grass, and if we put the net in, slightly bring it up and down so that I can feel where's my bottom and I don't just drag a net that might disturb other species. And if I'm done, I'll bring it up. Very simple. Hopefully we will see some invertebrates. I've got a few here. Let's see what we have. We've got some food. So it's this small broken back shrimp that the seahorses would eat. They love it. Who doesn't love shrimp?
Bring it up close to the camera. Oh, there you go. Hello, buddy.
So there's many things you would find here. A few other popcorn shrimps. Call them popcorn shrimps for a reason.
Bring it close before it pops. And there it goes.
Wait, come back.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, popcorn.
Popcorn shrimp.
Okay, pop. Now it's got stage fright.
Now it's got stage fright.
Yes.
And another shaggy sea hare and another.
Okay, so bring that. Oh, that is just gross. Oh, that is just gross.
It's a sea slug.
It's a slug. Oh.
And you can see there's food of the seahorse that's stuck onto it. So I need that food. So I'm just going to rinse it out. It's also family of the seahorse.
Oh, would you look at
Found
that?
in the estuary. Also the males give birth. I'm going to put it in the water. And then we can see it swim away.
And I have to say, it's pretty interesting how that while she's scooping up nets full of stuff, it's always surprising to see what kind of extra things come through, because remember, she is now aiming for those little shrimpy things. But we just got a, what do we get? What's that squidgy, oogie?
Shaggy sea hare.
A shaggy sea hare. Oh my word. And it's not really shaggy, it's slimy. It's really slimy. And she was just like, oh yes, this is a good, and it was like, this amazing creature plays a very, very important role because it feeds on decaying matter that is found in the water. And if disturbed, they produce a bright purple ink to make them look uneatable.
Sorting out some seahorse food over here. So in between the red algae that we have in my hand, there's some green shrimp stuck to it. There's stuff I don't need from the estuary, and then food that I would need. So then I would take the prawns out of the algae, the red algae, and some are green, some are a bit darker, so it's difficult to spot them, so I just like shake it off. So that's just by means of sorting out the food before I go to the office and feed the seahorses. Sometimes I'm lucky and all you scoop up is shrimp and you don't have to sort out, but other days where it's windy like today, the grass is a bit dirtier, so you end up with more stuff you wouldn't need. As soon as the seahorse is born, it will be completely buoyant for the first 2 weeks of its life. For that first 2 weeks, it will float, and with a tidal system, wherever the tide will take it, the seahorse will go. As it is not strong enough yet to swim against the strong tide we have at the Knysna estuary. Because of that, he will float around. Hopefully no schools of fish will see him or spot him or eat him. And hopefully after 2 weeks, if he had survived, then the seahorse would be strong enough to actually swim down to the grass bed. If he's a female or nor a male, they would go and find a mate. They will become mates for life. The female would then naturally produce eggs like we females do, and when those eggs are ready, she would go to her male and let him know that she's ready to deposit her eggs into his kangaroo pouch, because the male seahorse has got a kangaroo pouch, and she deposits those eggs into his pouch where there's a 4-week gestation period taking place, and after 4 weeks the male would then give birth. So it can be up to 200 babies in total if the deposit was a good deposit. After the seahorses are born, they are left to fend for themselves completely. It needs to constantly forage to stay alive. It doesn't have a stomach, so whatever it eats gets passed through the digestive system so quick that he needs to eat at least 45 times per day. They are actually real little predators. They are carnivores, so they hunt for prey by eyesight. They have got an excellent eyesight, and they are weak swimmers, basically. They can go up to the prey and feed on the prey, not by chewing but by sucking on it very quickly. It will make a popping sound like that. The scientific name for the seahorse is Hippocampus capensis, right?
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Hippocampus is actually derived from the word monster in Greek, if I'm not mistaken, and campus comes from the word cape. So it's Hippocampus capensis, capensis from the cape. So it's monster from the cape.
So it's Cape monsters.
So sea monster from the Cape.
So people, there are actually monsters here in the lagoon. Spending some time here floating on the water just makes you realize how beautiful it is and almost unbelievable how much life surrounds you in the water.
The Knysna estuary houses 44% of marine life, including birds and fish. So that means that all the fish from the coast, west or east, would come into this estuary and actually spawn onto this grass bed. So you can think about Knysna as one of the biggest creches for your marine life around this coast. So that's why Knysna is proclaimed as a protected area, because of the biodiversity of marine life. That's why Sanparks is here. And if you can protect the grass, you protect the habitat for a whole range of species, including fish, sea slugs, and specifically the Knysna seahorse.
Unfortunately, my dream to go swimming with seahorses did not happen today. But luckily, at the office, they have a variety of different seahorses that we will be feeding. And that's where we are heading right now. Okay, so we're here next to the fish tank. This is not a fish tank.
This is an aquarium tank.
Aquarium tank. All right.
Or a display tank.
Yeah, and she is gonna feed these beautiful little seahorses.
They've got a dorsal fin at the back that allows them to move forward. They've got a fin at the bottom of the stomach that allows them to propel upwards. And then they've got two fins on each side of the gills that would allow them to move right or left. Along with these features and their excellent eyesight of eyes that move independently, they would go look for prey. Seahorse.
That is purified. I can't even focus on that. Would you look at that? Don't kill it, don't kill it.
No, it's fine. The gills are still wet. It will stay alive.
Focus.
No, next.
Does it, I'll focus it.
It's 1 day old, probably just born. 2-3 millimeters small, completely buoyant for the first 2 weeks, like I said, and now we can actually prove it. It's not strong enough to go down.
But not everybody can have a display tank with
Seahorses.
seahorses like that.
We use it for an educational purpose, and that's the only reason why. We do not use it for any research or rehabilitation purposes. We purely only use it as an educational tool to explain to the people why Knysna is important, why we have the seahorses, and also how the seahorse looks like.
The Knysna estuary is very important in terms of biodiversity, but obviously it's also important in terms of the people that use it. And you can see behind me there are people that come every day to get food from the estuary. And then you also have all your recreational users who come for fishing, boating and various activities. It's quite a unique estuary. It's one of the only estuarine bays in South Africa. And of course it's got a lot of biodiversity, plants, animals that don't occur anywhere else. We've got the critically endangered Knysna seahorse here in the estuary, which we need to protect. And we've also got the biggest eelgrass beds in the country, which are obviously an important habitat for many species. And we don't just manage the estuary, we also manage the forests and the fynbos areas up in the mountains behind us. And that's very important in terms of the catchments also that flow into the estuary. So it's important to manage all these areas which are connected and which have an impact on each other to ensure that we keep that biodiversity and the conservation value going for the generations to come.
I must say, this is an adventure that blew my mind. And I thought that I was only discovering seahorses, but it seems like the Knysna Lakes has so much more marine life to offer. So if you are interested in the seahorses or would like to get involved, contact Sanparks in Knysna to find out how you can make that happen. Thank you to Sanparks Gardenery for receiving me with such kindness. And to all our patron supporters, without you we cannot do this. And as always, like, subscribe and share. Next week, I'll be swimming with crocodiles. For real.